Well, welcome back to the channel. I'm Latch.
And I'm Dean.
And we're talking about Kings of War, the tabletop miniatures game. And today what we're going to talk about is choosing a faction. Dean has taken an interest in the game.
Yeah, I've taken an interest in it. I've enjoyed our little intro game that we had with our little cardboard miniatures.
With the cardboard miniatures, we have the cardboard miniatures, Salamander Primes.
And I've had a flick through the different factions that you've shown me.
Right.
And so far there's about 3 that have taken my interest.
Right. Now, if you don't know tabletop gaming and tabletop wargaming, and you're interested in this game and you can find 50 quid, about $60, what you actually want is one of these starter sets. And it's not harder than this. Just buy one of these. This is the Chill of Twilight game set. Thanks very much, Mantic. And that will be available to play there at Tokyo Tabletop. It's not my club. It's run by my friend Rob. But I'm a regular there, along with 60 to 100 expatriates in Tokyo that like playing board games. Now, if you don't know tabletop miniatures games and you're interested in Kings of War, just buy one of these. Can't go wrong. It's got a rule book a little bit like this inside, and 2 factions. In this case, what have we got? Bad elves.
I think they're called the
Twilight Kin.
Yeah, the Twilight Kin.
Bad elves. And what were the northern tribes called in
I think that
Game of Thrones?
Well, that's the Men of the North. I think this is like the Northern Alliance.
Northern Alliance.
I looked at the book.
With crow riders. What wouldn't you like? They might be ravens. They're big.
I actually do like the look of them. They're pretty cool. These guys not too bad, but I'm not really sold on the dark elf aesthetic personally.
No, there's a lot of purple and black going on. I mean, this is goths, aren't they? They've got a goth elf.
They are definitely like early century goth look.
My jerkin is black, like my heart. Or some such. So that's what you should buy. But in the last video, Dean and I talked about Kings of War and our impressions of the game in the context of our experience of other war games. Here's the video link. But if you are not an experienced gamer, probably what you want to buy is one of these.
Yeah, always 2-player starter sets are a good one. Get you and a friend. They cost you very little to purchase, and you've got 2 factions. I think they do more than just this for a starter set. I think they do a couple of different others for different factions.
Maybe half a dozen different starter sets.
So
take your pick.
I'm sure like you and a friend can find someone that will like take your fancy and you can buy it.
So if you're in Tokyo or passing through Tokyo and you're interested in Kings of War, this will always be available for you to play. Right now, let's talk about factions. So I've got the laptop, we've got the rulebook. Actually, I'll just say a little word about this. Sorry, Dean.
Sorry.
So if you buy last year's rulebook, you also get now the Clash of Kings update. So this brings the rulebook up to date with a new faction, the Twilight Kin. There's these bad elves.
Yeah, these are the bad elves.
The bad elves. The bad elves of Panathor. Panathor? Panathor.
Sounds like an indie rock band.
It does. The bad elves.
The bad elves of Panathor.
And as you can see, they've got the usual problem with receding skin and jaw protruding through there. And obviously, he's probably got some issues that he's working through there.
I don't think he's had a particularly good day.
So one of the things about Kings of War, how they run this, is that they release one of these every year, and it follows, I think it's released at their annual Clash of Kings tournament, which is the international tournament. Ooh. So it brings the rulebook up to date, and in this case, it introduces a new faction. So any rules balancing that the rules committee have felt they needed to do is embodied in this, and if you buy one of these, you get this one free. And that's also true if you buy a starter set. Dean, the starter set, please.
Behold.
And if you buy a starter set, you will also get a Clash of Kings at the moment free. Now,
that's actually really good. I didn't realise they give it out for free because some companies don't even.
Well, they charge me for one of them because I bought a couple of copies. But if you buy the starter set or the rulebook, you get one free. So we're speaking here this is from the perspective, so I've only played a dozen games of Kings of War at this point, and I come at it as, I have some wargaming experience, and I play a lot of board games, and that's mainly been, I've played board games since I was 7 and never really stopped. So I come to Kings of War primarily as a board game player with some wargaming experience, but I think it's fair to say you're really a wargamer.
I'm the opposite. Been wargaming since I was 11 years old. First got onto it, like a lot of people got into it with Games Workshop, but then branched out into other wargaming systems, case in point.
Yeah, and we covered a lot of that in the last video, which was strong opinions, loosely held, about various war games.
Yeah. Talking about the strengths and weaknesses of all the various different types.
And now you're going to tell us. So tell us about Abyssal Dwarfs. What's going on here? So now tell us what's your first faction?
So my first faction is just going straight at the beginning of the alphabet. Is A for Abyssal Dwarfs.
A for Abyssal Dwarfs. Which unit has caught your eye?
Well, the standard infantry being the Black Souls.
I might turn this way. All right. Black Souls? What can you tell me about this?
Well, I quite like the look of all the stat blocks. So far, they look to be standard dwarfy style stat blocks.
Slow. Speed 4, not fast.
Slow units, but trading off
melee
speed
4, that's
for particularly good melee stats.
Decent.
From
Defense 5, so staunch.
From what I can see, looking at them, obviously just from my understanding of the game.
People who are watching the video, you probably know how to play the game, and we don't really. But that's the point. The point is really give you our impressions as noobs.
Yeah, it's completely fine. I mean, I can turn around.
Is it okay?
I'm open to criticism. It doesn't bother me.
That shirt doesn't go with those trousers for a start. So you like that. They look pretty well costed to me. So 75 points for a troop. So I must say, Ronnie, CEO of Mantic, I think you need to tighten up your unit size, your terms for unit sizes. That will perhaps not be very welcome. But a troop, a regiment and a horde mean the size of the unit.
Yeah, well,
so a troop looks very cheap, and a regiment is not much more expensive.
It's not that much more expensive, and to be fair, you're only getting a little bit extra in stats, being only an extra 2 attacks, and the nerve and results going up a little bit. But you're making up for unit size going from 1 to 3, so definitely better for holding objectives.
Yes.
Just from what I can see.
And these guys have got. You can go to crushing strength 1. But you drop your defense to 4. So this is the two-handed weapons upgrade, and we like crushing strength. We're in our limited experience of the game.
From my experience of the game, I like crushing. I like anything that can apply any modifiers is always going to be good.
Right.
Be it for better or for worse. Obviously, better modifiers for your troops obviously means less
worse modifiers. Worse
modifiers. Yeah. It's the classic. Anything that can get you an advantage in any little way can take you a mile.
So tell me about the. My eye is immediately caught by the throwing mastiff. What's that? So 15 extra points. I can have a throwing mastiff, a dog that I throw into the battle. Tell me about that.
I'm still trying to figure out if the throwing mastiff is
there's a picture of it online.
A mastiff. Well, is it a mastiff that runs in mauls people, or is it a bomb?
Ranged attack, once per game, 12-inch range,
8 attacks,
8 attacks, piercing 1,
always
hits on a 4 up. Well, that's decent, isn't it? 12-inch range, attack 8.
Which seems quite handy.
So 8 attacks, 4 hits. So you probably get 4 hits out of that once per game.
If you can, I would be more tempted to, and it doesn't look like you can, although I might just be mislooking at it. Yeah, it doesn't really can. I'd be more tempted to put a throwing mastiff on a already range-based unit. So if you could stick a throwing mastiff onto a unit of the
but
decimators.
Isn't this like you get close to the melee and you throw your
dog. But
throw your dog in.
I would much rather, personally for me, just have range units that just do more.
Do more range.
So I'd be like, I'm not only going to shoot
you. I'm going to do. This is an army upgrade, so can't you give it to the range units?
It doesn't look like you can on here, but maybe in the army builder they've changed it. But just in the book here.
So what are we looking? So what is a ranged unit in the decimators? Well, it's an army. The dog of war, the throwing mastiff, is an army upgrade. So you can give it to the ranged unit.
But only some units can, because it's listed on the appropriate guys. It is a army piece upgrade, but only some units can take it.
But only some units can take it, and the decimators can't. So they obviously want it. Mantic obviously want it.
Much like what I
on the
wanted,
melee
which
units.
was I wanted to go, well, I want my range units to do more damage. They turn around and go, we understand that would be strong, so we've stopped it.
That's right. Well, yeah, I don't quite. I mean, if your ranged units are already doing ranged attacks, why do you want more ranged stuff? Because it's a dog that you can throw at the opponent.
Because rule of cool is that it's a dog you throw at people, but if you're going from pure statistics, just looking at the decimators, being 10 shots on a 10-man unit, on a little troop unit, you're almost doubling your damage output just on that little one there. So it would allow you to really pile on the hurt before a unit got into melee with them.
Aha, right.
So, and being that they're ranged units, they're going to be more at the back, so it is less likely for units to take damage, thus meaning that the 10-man unit, that would be like the little troop one, would stay around longer because it's hidden behind stuff, rather than on a frontline unit, which is more likely going to be the attack of range.
When I was a dwarf, I wanted to throw my dogs into battle from my melee unit. But, yeah, I don't know.
That's right. It comes down to,
right.
if you're going to math hammer it, then you're better off having more ranged stuff on an already ranged unit.
You haven't sold me on how strong it would be, but generally you beat me when we play, so I'll have to take it under advisement. So okay, so what's your next unit? So that's Black Souls.
That's Black Souls, and we were just talking about the Decimators, which is conveniently
and we
a
covered
dual kit.
Decimators, and you were thinking about Decimators. And what else have you got?
So far, I actually quite like the look of the different war engines they've got.
Oh, right.
I'm a big fan of various different mortars, flamethrower teams, rocket batteries, it's all good stuff.
The Garog mortar.
Oh, the Garog
I hope I pronounced that correctly for any dwarfs out there. Garog mortar. Oh yeah, 48-inch range. Blast D3 +1. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nothing. We like the Garog mortar, don't we?
The Garog mortar's nice.
Now we've read the blast rules, so it's a blast area of effect kind of thing.
Yeah, and from what I see, it fires indirectly.
So that presumably means it's not worried about line of sight, is that right?
No, traditional mortar just fires up and over.
I
quite like it. That's the principle.
That's rather good, isn't it?
I'm a big fan, looking rules-wise, I'm a big fan of the Dragon fire team.
That's here as well, is it?
It's a war engine, yeah. It's a
Dragon fire team.
I'm a big fan of them because they have nimble, and the stats for the Blackfire gun are quite nice.
Right then. 14-inch steady aim Blackfire gun. What does the Blackfire gun do?
From what I can see, it fires 12 shots with vicious at range.
Right. So you want a big unit of these guys.
Oh, no,
but there's only one
it's
unit.
A single
there's only one
weapon.
unit.
It's
a
just
single guy.
Yeah, it's just a couple of guys with a flamethrower running around.
We say yes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dean, but you've got a bit of a history with Dark Dwarves, is that right?
Yes, I'm quite the fan of Chaos Dwarfs and the Abyssal Dwarf aesthetic.
So Chaos Dwarves were Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Is that what you were playing back in the day when I met you?
Yes, that was my first ever Warhammer Fantasy army, and I stuck true to them, even going so far as when Forge World brought the range out as a Forge World range. I bought an entire Forge World army of them. I wouldn't recommend that for your wallet.
So an entire house full of miniatures.
I still have the carry case at home, full of all the various war machines and various units that I used to use.
And so this one's got war machines as well, which we're seeing. We've got the Dragon Fire Team and the Garog Mortar and the Katsukan. How do you pronounce that? Katsuchan rocket launcher. Again, sorry to any dwarves if I get that pronunciation wrong. And so we've got lots of these war engines, which is your kind of gig.
I'm a big fan of the rampant industrialization that you see when it comes to just evil dwarfs.
Yeah.
Like you just see, whenever you think of Abyssal Dwarfs for Mantic, or you think about Chaos Dwarfs from Games Workshop, the first thing that usually comes in my mind is the cinematic panning scene from Isengard from Two Towers, where everything's being cut down.
Sort of wheels turning.
Yeah, wheels turning.
People whipping other people.
Yeah, that is
industry,
what happens.
Dark industry.
Yeah, that is what happens. All day, every day, it's horrible. I wouldn't recommend it.
Things being cut down, life being extinguished, and from the embers of the ruin of this industry comes
a Grog Mortar.
A Garog Mortar. That's that. Look out on the other side of the board. 48 inches is 4 feet, and
I like to imagine
that's
it's
the
going to...
other side of the board.
Yeah.
That's the other side of the board, isn't it?
I can't argue with that range of I'm going to shoot you...
Almost anywhere on the entire board. So 4x6 is, I think, the usual full-scale game. That means if you put it...
If you put it on the 12-inch mark...
You could reach anywhere of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like that.
I like it a lot.
Right then, so you've sold me on the dark dwarf aesthetic. What else are you looking at?
Well, I think we looked at together...
Salamanders.
Just from the intro game that we did with Salamanders, which at first was just a quick impromptu for the intro game, but actually just looking at them... Yeah, beautiful, look at them. Was looking at them rules-wise, actually...
They seem to be pretty good units.
Actually, I'm quite fond of the range.
So we didn't... so in our teaching game, we just ran up, as we talked about in the other video, we ran up 2 identical lists. We worked from the companion app online, we printed out the lists, and we cut unit bases to the correct size and wrote on them what they were. Fire Elemental FE.
I didn't think that I'd be attached to a army that I was just doing for an intro game.
Right.
But just playing with them, just seeing the stats, and then looking through more of the range and more of what they can do. I mean, who doesn't love fire lizards?
Exactly. Yeah, this is a faction where you can have fire lizards riding on dinosaurs. So
yeah,
really,
why can't you
what's not to like?
What's not to love?
So Fireborn is an attribute of a clan lord, and that gives him life leech. And what that means is if he's got units nearby, when he does damage, he can.
Do you mean
restore
firebound, flamebound?
I'm gonna have to put on the glasses for this. Fireborn. That's what he's got. A clan lord has Fireborn. Yes.
Oh, Fireborn. Ignore me, because it must have been added.
And he gains. Don't like Mantic. I don't like this reference to another rule with a rule. So, Fireborn is his attribute, but what it gives him is life leech. I'm not very happy with that. But anyway, so that means that if you've got nearby friendly units of a certain kind, you can regain some of your damage. So it makes him a bit more resilient. Now, so that's not bad, but watch me now.
But we can improve this.
If you go crazy and spend another 200 points, so one of these guys is 100 points, your clan, and it's giving you a bunch of stuff that you'd like. We like inspiring, we think. But if you go crazy and spend another 200 points, you get a dragon to ride on.
You say go crazy, I say the correct choice.
That's right. And this is the basis of our friendship. We understand the important things about building army lists. You want guys riding on dragons. Now, that is quite expensive. 300 points, it's nearly 300 points. That's quite expensive. But you've got the fire breath ranged attack. Your nerve is 17-19. Your melee drops, melees deteriorate slightly up to 4. But your attacks are now 15. Should we do that together?
Yeah.
15.
Jazz, spirit fingers.
Spirit fingers. 15 attacks. What's not to like about that? So, and it's this amazing model, which you're showing, which you can see. And I basically want to spend, when I'm back here in the summer, I'm going to have one of those, and I'm going to spend my evenings painting that at the paint table. That's my plan.
That was definitely one of the models when I was flicking through the Mantic range, when I was going down the catalogue of what Salamanders had, and as soon as I saw it, I just went,
Salamanders.
Yes. Literally like, yes.
Just, what's not to like about it? So, I mean, I think that, you know, competitive players, and I know that, thank you to the people that have watched our video and encouraged us and sent us messages. So the first videos we did with Tom, where Tom's a veteran player and he really knows what he's talking about, and I'm a foil for that, in that as a newcomer to the game, I can, you know, ask him appropriately dumb questions. So we really appreciate the encouragement we've had. Thanks. But when we're making this video, we're not really talking about it from a position of knowing what's competitive. We're talking about it from a position of people who like games. We just like these units.
I'm completely new to Kings of War. I can only look at stuff and just see that, from what I can see, stats-wise and rules-wise, XYZ looks good.
Right, yeah.
but I won't know until I play.
Yeah.
But
and I do think that when you start playing this sort of game where we're saying simpler rules, more complex interactions, the interactions are between the players, does it really matter whether your list is terribly competitive or not if you've got a clan lord lizard riding on a giant dragon? I mean, is that really, can anybody say this is a bad idea? Come on.
I mean, rule of cool says it's cool. It is a lizard riding a dragon.
You can't tell me that's not good. And these guys actually have got, what are the dinosaur riders called? Their cavalry is, what are these guys called? Rhinosaurs. Yeah. So your rhinosaur cavalry. Come on, it's lizards riding on dinosaurs.
Can't go wrong.
I don't think we can go wrong. So we really like the salamanders. That's kind of our salamander picks. We didn't do much on the rhinosaur. Thing is, we don't really know enough about how cavalry works to know if they're good, but I know they look good.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try and say what's good and what's not. I'm just pointing at things and going, that's cool, I want.
Yes. What the other great looking unit, tyrants. That looks like a really great model.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I've actually used them on the thumbnail for videos because they're such good looking models.
They are lovely.
So there's lots to go at with salamanders we like. And what is your next pick for factions, Dean?
My final pick for a faction is something that took me completely by surprise. Was the Nightstalkers.
Right.
I don't usually like this style of army, just aesthetic-wise.
And what style is it?
Well, they're just nightmare monsters.
Right. So pretty much the sort of person you'd meet outside a chip shop in Portsmouth, then, really?
Yeah, just my neighbour, just
Really?
my local neighbour here, just a horrible nightmare monster.
So the nightmare monsters, we've got multiple arms.
Mobile arms, no eyes, screaming mouths, full of teeth.
Lots of screaming faces.
Not usually my thing, but generally looking at them, the model range has taken me. The Tormentors and Reapers kit, is it?
Well, let's have a look.
Multi-armed monster dudes. It looked fantastic.
And your first pick?
Just Reapers.
Reapers. Reaper Soul Drinker? Is that its whole word? Is that his first name and last name?
It's full. It's
I
first
named this
name.
child Reaper.
I named this
Mr.
child
and Mrs. Soul Drinker?
No, it's just called Reapers.
Reapers? Is that a separate thing? Reapers at the top.
Right.
Okay, so there's our friend Crushing Strength, which we like. We've got these extra rules, Mind Thirst, which looks like an extension to Inspiring. That seems good. And what else have we got? Stealthy? What's that? You don't know.
I don't know. I'm new to this game.
I've got the rule book. So Stealthy is a modifier, a debuff to your attacker's ranged attacks. We like that.
That's very nice.
And basically, you like these guys because they look good, I think. Is that?
Yeah, just for my model range that it's taking me, I like them. I like the look of these.
A bit quicker for an infantry unit at 6. Our other infantry units were slow. Melee 3-up, so strong melee.
With a lot of attacks.
Gosh, that is a lot of attacks.
Yeah.
So for 125 points, which was roughly around what we looked at with the other infantry units, that's a lot more, isn't it?
Yeah, you get a lot more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Another unit that's taken my fancy is the Doppelgangers.
Doppelgangers.
Doppelgangers for the Doppelganger rule, I think is fantastic. I like those mechanics.
Tell me about that. So the Doppelganger rule?
Doppelgangers themselves, stats-wise, look okay as infantry, but then Doppelganger just allows you to go, oh, if my opponent's better in melee or even has crushing strength, I also have because I copy you.
So you mentioned this yesterday. This is, you steal the opponent's melee stats if you want.
I wouldn't say steal. I would definitely say borrow with malicious intent.
Borrow with malicious intent. Yeah, I like that. So lots of, so you kind of run that into a stronger unit.
Yes, if you run it into a unit.
And then steal their attack.
For a prime example, like this unit would run into my big horde unit of Salamander primes with 2 weapons, and they would go, oh, we've got crushing strength 2 and this and that. They would charge in and go, well, we also now have it, and you have less defense, so we're going to kill you.
Right. So this could be like a really interesting tactical unit to play with. So if you want to play mind games with your opponent, Bobby Fischer versus Boris Spassky, this is your unit.
It's a horde unit that is designed to from what I can see, it kind of wants to be a block like speed bump unit. It wants to run into other units, and mess with them, and it wants to slow your opponent down. But it's a one that's generally terrifying because you can't have it run in. You can't have the doppelgangers run into an elite unit. Your opponent does not want this because if they do, they're going to really hurt the elite unit.
Right. Yeah, I like it. So interference, breaking things up.
Yeah.
But that would mean that you wouldn't want a big regiment of them. So regiment's the middle-sized troop unit. Regiment's the middle-sized unit.
But you can
the problem with that is now it's too big to move around.
But you can only take them as a regiment.
You can take them as a right.
You can only take them as a regiment of 20 guys.
Yeah. Totally agree. That's a great pick, and it's more great models. Fun, yeah.
Just a fun little.
It's our idea of fun, isn't it? That's exactly what we want to do. Is
I want to run these guys forward with you and go. Ooh, do you want to? Ooh, no.
That's a unit that wants to be played at this shop, without a doubt.
It just runs straight forward.
We can think of some people, can't we, that we'd like to play doppelgangers against?
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's good. And what else have you got for us?
Actually, one of the heroes, another one just for model-wise, is the Dream Hunter, I believe it's called. Yeah, the Dream Hunter. Model-wise, he's no eyes, got various teeth, two big Gary Morley hands, big old. That's
Dream Hunter.
Yeah.
Mantic.
But he's the guy that you were talking about with the multiple spider legs.
Ah yes.
This guy.
Well, he's got issues, hasn't he? Right away. That's a man with issues.
That was a man who was destined to struggle on the toilet.
He's got the old. Yes, how would you get yourself into position?
That's his problem.
maybe there are special latrine facilities for dream.
Maybe
for dream hunters. Great paint job on this picture.
Yeah, that's another one. The paint was fantastic.
Yeah, yes, I certainly could enjoy making that model.
But as heroes go, he looks like he's meant to be along with the army because he matches the aesthetic. But you definitely can't misplace him because nothing else in the army has the multiple spider leg thing going on.
Dave, you know which one's which?
Yeah, really easy. Obviously, some heroes might blend in. Obviously, the guy on the big dragon doesn't. He stands out like a sore thumb.
Yes,
but
probably above church spires and forests.
Well, I don't know, Derek.
I don't think we should go through the forest because I could see the dragon's head poking out.
I don't know.
It's like. Do you think we should go into that forest?
Yeah, just like, I don't know, Derek. I don't think we should go to work today.
Yeah, don't know about that.
But no, I quite like them.
They would look. What I'm already thinking is not something that I'm particularly drawn to, this sort of nightmare thing, but they would look great on the tabletop.
My mind is racing with ideas of not only how I can make little diorama pieces with the units, but also various different paint jobs, because they're all very organic looking. Because there's no clear cloth on them. It is just big, angry, gribbly monsters.
Right.
But
Gribbly.
Yeah, big gribblies.
Gribblies.
Good old big gribblies.
Gribblies.
But because they're nightmare monsters, they have no clear paint palette.
Sorry, you're going to go a bit goth though, aren't you? You're going to go blacks and purples again, like the.
I don't think I would.
Where are you going to go? Greens and blacks?
I think that I would do them with pale skin tones.
Right.
And then probably fading out into, I don't know, maybe a black for the claws or something like that. So that just something that just clearly makes it look not normal besides the look of it.
Chitinous claws.
Probably something like that.
So I should say actually here at Fistful of Dice there is a big thing going on with really the place to be is the paint table. There's lots of other things going on. There's people playing war games downstairs, board game night, which you'd think I'd be playing. They're all playing any number of trading card games, and but I have to say that my favourite place in the shop is the paint table. That's where it's all going on for me.
It's where you just relax and just
and paint stuff up.
Yeah.
So these look great. We've covered. Have we done all of?
We've done 3 factions, all the ones that take my interest. And
so those are. I'm currently playing Forces of Nature, and I'm probably going to keep doing that. But I must say, my eye's been really caught going through this stuff with you. I must say, I'm rather tempted to go to Salamanders.
They do look fun.
and I can see myself fielding those, mainly because I want to have the big guy on the dragon.
Also, if you continue with your Forces of Nature, you have the Crosscomb.
There's a bit, I get a
can...
bit of versatility. I can play the Salamanders in Forces of Nature, and I can probably play the Fire Elementals. Good point.
Yeah, you got 2 in 1.
Could start on Salamanders, or do all the Elementals and bring them. I don't think I get all the Elementals in. No, so you'd start in Salamanders.
And then you'd move the Fire Elementals into Forces of
Nature. Yeah, that's the way to go. And what do you think you'll go for? Because you can't have the Chill of Winter box that we've been given.
I can't have that.
So what would you like to go? What do you think you're going to go for?
I'm still debating. Nostalgia is telling me to go with
the dwarves,
with the dwarves,
the Abyssal Dwarfs. Yeah, because you've got your siege engines and your mortar.
Yeah,
your 48-inch range North mortar.
Yeah,
it's just wrong. Isn't
nostalgia. Oh, it's beautiful. You say wrong, I say fantastic. But nostalgia is telling me to go down that route. But this is an entirely new game system, so I should probably branch out from familiarity and pick some of the more unique stuff, being the Salamanders army. But for a painting project and just a modelling one in general, I might actually pick the Nightstalkers, something completely different to what I would normally pick. Probably for that reason is why I'll pick it.
Is there a Nightstalkers starter set? We don't know.
I know there's the start collecting for just Nightstalkers. They do the 3 different ones for the armies. I'd probably just go in big and get one in the middle of the big ones. Like
We
the big ones
generally do, don't you?
Like,
So
my
don't
wallet
go
screams.
to Dean's house. It's not good. It's difficult to get into.
Got to get past the piles of shame.
Walls and walls of miniatures. So that's it for our look at some of the factions, and you see how our mind is working. I'll say again, if you're starting out the game, I think you want to get yourself one of those or one of the other starter sets with factions that catch your eye, and I think that's the way to do it. I think you just pick out models you want. Now, in a year's time, I'll make a video saying everything I've learned about Kings of War and how I was wrong, maybe. But I don't think so. I think we've played games enough to know picking.
We know what we like, what we don't like.
So just pick what you want to do.
Yeah.
Paint them up, get them on the table. So that's it from us for today. Please join us again. Bye-bye.
Bye.